Let's go. Cheer!
Welcome to the Morning Swim Show for Monday, June 6th, 2011. I'm your host, Peter Bush. In the Phoenix Monitor today, we'll talk to Tim Welsh. He's the head men's swim coach at Notre Dame University. He's also taking part in a mentoring program through the American Swim Coaches Association. Tim Welsh joins us right now in the Phoenix Monitor from South Bend, Indiana. Coach, welcome to the Morning Swim Show. How are you?
Great. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to have you. Tell us how you got involved in this mentoring program.
Well, you know, it started 11 years ago, actually, and it was in a conversation with George Block and Chuck Warner and John Leonard, and we were talking about, you know, where will the next generation of leaders in our sport come from, realizing that so much has changed since we got involved when we were young guys, that maybe the next group will help them if they get up to speed a little bit before, you know, while they're still young. So that was the initial concept. And then what we've done is we call it the Ask a Fellows program, and we run it through the American Swimming Coaches Association. We select somewhere between 5, 10, this year 12 fellows a year, so there are now 75, 80 of them. And what it is, it's a year-long program. We do a clinic within the clinic just prior to and during the Ask a World Clinic every September. And then in the course of the year, they all work on a project together. And we kind of stay in touch with them as they go through that process.
And what do you mean exactly? They sharing, you know, workouts or coaching drills? I mean, what exactly, you know, do they each bring to the table, and then how does the feedback go?
Great question. Great question, because actually the program is more focused on what happens off the deck than what happens on the deck. You know, and it's more directed towards helping people assume leadership roles within their organization, helping make changes within their program. It's more of an off-the-deck leadership kind of a program than it is an X's and O's, you know, coaching on the deck program.
Okay, so if a coach, you know, maybe wants to change up the way they run their club, or maybe they're just having some, you know, issues that come with being a coach, and they want to bend your ear. That's where you come in?
You know, let me give you just an example of what we're working on right now, Peter, and this might make it clear. The group we just selected is a group of 12 fellows, and our common topic for the next year is going to be coaching boys. You know, starting from a recognition that we all have that, to some extent, young boys are a mess. And they're different from young girls. And so what we're talking about is, what does that mean for our sport? You know, should we treat boys differently? Should we expect things differently? Should we coach them differently? What do we need to learn about coaching boys? And there are a lot of even medical reports that says that, in fact, young boys are different than they used to be. We have a text this year, which isn't normal, but we're all starting by reading a book called Boys Adrift by Leonard Sachs. He's both a physician and a psychologist. And he looks at what happens to boys in school. He looks what happens to them as they're in athletic situations. He looks at how they've been sometimes diagnosed and medicated, looks at video games. A pretty cultural analysis to say what's happened to boys in America.
That's pretty interesting.
His general consensus is not very much that's good. But he has some very strong recommendations, and that's, I think, where we're going to start.
Do you guys ever meet in person, or is it via phone, video conference?
We meet in person at the very beginning. So we will be at the Ask a World Clinic this year in San Diego at the Town and Country Hotel. We'll be there just before the clinic starts. We'll start on a Monday night. The clinic itself will start on Thursday. And we'll spend a couple of days, you know, working together and talking about the topic, learning about, you know, how swimming organizations work, talking about the way changes are made, things like that. And then trying also to refine our refine our topic and the direction it leads us. Now, if I take you back 2 years, the current class that is just finishing up, their general topic was club swimming in America. And so what we did last September is we had a lot of conversations about club swimming in America. Looking for, and Rick Shippard, who was, kind of guided us through a lot of this, looking for a club voice. Now then that group of fellows developed a questionnaire which they sent out in a bunch of places. They have met several times by conference call, and they are preparing a report that will be a culmination of their year's work on club swimming in America. The year before that, we worked on college swimming, and our topic had to do with retaining and expanding and building, especially men's swimming, but college swimming in the United States. Same kind of an idea. We met together and we talked about that as a topic that branched out into some assignments. Each one of those fellows wrote a significant essay, starting with Title IX and expanding, on their topic area. But those are the examples of the projects we've done. And then along the way, the fellows receive a large volume of emails, mostly from John Leonard, but a lot of it about the conversation of what's happening in the sport, what are the leaders thinking in the sport, what are people doing in the sport. It's just a way of keeping people plugged in and excited about moving the sport forward.
It's a good idea. Definitely want to make sure we have quality coaches in the next generation. So I like the idea.
Absolutely. And what we're finding is once people are in the fellows, they stay plugged in, they do great things. So we've been very pleased with it. And, one of our former fellows, Ben Shepard, who was from out in California, worked in a diversity program out there. He's now working with USA Swimming in the same kind of a project. So it's that kind of a leg up into helping our sport become a better sport that we have dreams of the fellows program doing for people.
Well, Coach, thank you very much for telling us about this, and good luck next year with the Fighting Irish.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you thinking of us, so thanks for the call.
All right, that's Coach Tim Welsh joining us from Notre Dame. That's it for today's show. I'm Peter Bush, reminding you to keep your head down at the finish.